So apologies, the phone cut out. So this will just be the conclusion on the thoughts of part one, we'll call it. Um, so recognizing the drama triangle is just a way of helping you recognize you're slipping out of a healthy conversation that's going to actually help the two of you and going into something unhealthy so you can get back into it. And that's what happened that night. And that's what's happened many times over. Ashley talked about how I was able to approach that in a healthy way as opposed to going into a regular the victim. Well, that because I'm doing it in a healthy way and because she has a dedication to this and to healthy conversation and communication and helping me with that, we end up having very healthy, wonderful communication. She's hurt, she's in pain, which is totally normal, and yet is able to forgive me for the millionth time for pain and trauma that I've inflicted and caused in the marriage, caused in her life. And so instead of a, a terrible fight or drag out conversation, we have healthy communication, and she forgives her pain that she's feeling that's normal. She overcomes, and we end up having a wonderful evening. The family outing continues, and we have a great time together. And so many times that's been the case.
Yeah.
That despite pain, despite trauma, she can heal. She can be happy that life isn't ruined because of what I've done and trauma I've inflicted, and that's because we worked through it.
And despite feeling sick of bringing up the conversation again, and despite feeling him feeling like because again, obviously this conversation is going to make you feel bad.
Yeah.
Because it's something that you've done that you're not proud of. You're not proud of your addiction. You're not proud of what you seek out and different things. Despite that being brought up as my pain, and of course it's easy. It is easy to go to again and leave me alone. Let me heal. It's easy to go to that.
And I've done it.
And he has, but more and more that we learn, because it's worked so often. Because it's worked to make the pain go away, and it's worked to put that fight at bay so that we don't go down that rabbit hole and be stuck feeling yucky for days.
Yeah. And I know that the last thing Ashley wants to do is bring up pain, is to feel pain and to bring it up. And through time, we've realized the last thing we want is to have a conversation that stretches till 4 a.m. of us out crazying the other's crazy, and instead being able to have a healthy dialogue where we acknowledge and recognize what each other's feeling and going through. Again, I don't know how many times when I've acknowledged her pain and taken ownership of it, that in return what I've gotten is, I'm sorry that this is something you dealt with since you were 5. Like, compassion back, which is remarkable. It's truly remarkable. And so, instead of a long conversation, a long fight, it's a healthy communication of acknowledging what's going on and continuing with a wonderful family outing. Life's not ruined. Life's not put on hold. And again, it just comes with practice, and it comes with not giving up. You give up or you feel worthless, it's over. And so that whole victim thing, whether we have the conversation or not, whether she brings it up, my addiction has led to some pretty trying financial times. It led to losing an incredible job. And I think about that all the time. The victim thing doesn't just come because Ashley brings it up. And so counseling, victim, all this has helped me recognize that I can inflict that on myself, and why I need to avoid it. I need to avoid it, one, to stay healthy for our communication and our relationship, and I need to do it in order to stay healthy for myself and stay out of slipping into the drug. Mm-hmm. And so
and we hope this helps, and especially for those comments. If you can relate to that, if you can relate to those 5-step cycles, like was in part 1 video, this was absolutely so helpful for us to be able to understand how to not go into the rabbit hole, because it is so hard for having like a couple of great weeks and then all of a sudden you're having 4 straight horrible days where you're back to being like, we're not going to make it. You know, there's nothing worse than being like going on that emotional roller coaster up and down, feeling like, oh, we're fine. And then someone gets triggered, whether it's either spouse, someone gets triggered, and then you're back down into being in the drama triangle and the rabbit hole for days, and it's horrible. So I guess our best advice is, if your significant other is struggling, and I've had to do this vice versa for Chris too, when he's triggered about something, if your significant other is struggling, sit with them in that moment. Do not make it about you. So on the days that he comes to me and he says, like, I am really triggered, I am struggling, I'm having a hard time with thoughts, I'm having a hard time with this, and this, I don't sit there and go, Again? This makes me feel horrible. Why? How could you tell me this?
Yeah, she doesn't.
Why won't you just get over it? Why can't I just be enough for you? I don't go down that path anymore. And again, we've done that. We've gone down that path. It's just, again, because I want to show the vice versa of that he can be triggered and traumatized too. I sit there with him and I just am like, oh honey, I'm so sorry that you have dealt with this your whole life. What can we do? You know, and his is normally, I just needed to voice it so I can cut out the shame, bring it out of the darkness, bring it into the light, and let you know. Not dwell on the thought so that it becomes a poison into something else, you know? And normally that's what he needs, because our scripts are obviously a little different because, you know, I can't necessarily help him as much maybe in that scenario. I don't know. But I just try to be compassionate about what he's going through. I'm sorry that you're triggered. Thank you for coming to me and talking to me rather than acting out. You know, thank you for leaning on me. As your spouse, I want to be there for you. Those are kinds of the things that I say to try and help him get out of those trauma moments. And then, like I said, he sits there with me and just is like, I'm sorry that you're going through this. I'm sorry that my actions have led to being traumatized. Things like that, and boom, we're having a much better day. So my best advice is to not make it about you. Don't sit there, if your spouse comes to you with, I'm triggered, don't sit there and be like, well, why am I not enough for you? And if the other spouse is triggered, don't sit there and be like, again, why are you bringing this up again? Just let me heal. Or, oh, I'm the worst person ever and you deserve better. No, don't do that.
Yeah, don't.
Just be there. Just listen to their actual pain. Put your, I don't know, if you're a touchy-feely person, we both are, put your hand on their shoulder, give them a hug, and legitimately be there for them so that they can feel that their spouse cares. Because that's the biggest thing. With this script that he made his own, I genuinely felt like he meant it. If I didn't feel like he meant it, and if I felt like he was giving me a script every time, it wouldn't help. But he genuinely is sorry for my pain. He genuinely recognizes I could go into one of those drama triangles right now. I could go into persecutor mode. I could be upset that she's bringing this up again, but I'm not gonna. Right now, my wife's having a hard time, and I just need to listen to that. I just need to hear that. And I just want to be there for her and find a way to help her feel better. It's not about me right now. Even though she's talking about things that have to do with me, this is not about me. This is not Chris moment right now. This is Ashley. Ashley's having pain. And when Chris comes to me, it's not about you, Ashley. It's not about him looking at other women. It's not about this and that. It's about my husband. And just for the record, as a wife of a recovering addict, I am very sorry for any person out there, any male or female who has this addiction, because it is hard. And I don't fully understand it, but I've watched my husband try to overcome it, and it is just a horrible thing. So I am sad. I am genuinely sad for anybody who has this addiction, because I am not going to sit here and say that it's easy to overcome it, and that when you are triggered or when you do slip, how many things that brings upon you. I am so sad for anybody who has an addiction of any kind. That is hard. So it's sitting with them on that moment, and that's what's helped us. I hope that's helpful. I hope the Drama Triangle information that we shared is helpful.
Yeah, hopefully just recognizing where you're going with your thoughts and your actions, and why it can be unhealthy, why it can lead to, both for an addict, why it can lead to damaging behavior just for yourself. I mean, just in fighting the addiction, but why it also leads to damaging behavior in the communication and the healing with your spouse. So.
Yeah. Thank you, and please keep these comments and suggestions coming, because they are helpful to let us pass anything along that we have felt or dealt with, and any counseling advice, because counseling's expensive, I'm going to be honest. So if we can share every single thing that we learned through that, we will. So
but we are not licensed counselors.
Not licensed counselors.
We just have lots of experience. So.
Just been to a lot of them. So thank you, and we hope this helps.